Okay, welcome to today's lesson. We are going to be looking at sentence structure and types of sentences. Okay, our learning intention for today, we are learning to define and understand different types of sentence structures. Our success criteria, I can define the different types of sentence structures and I can give an example of each type of sentence structure. So what is a sentence? A sentence is a group of words that express a complete thought. Sentences can be simple or complicated. They can be long or short. Sentences can sometimes be silly. As long as the words express a complete thought, it's still a sentence. So, for example, the octopus ate oranges for breakfast. Okay, so let's have a look now. We're going to identify the sentences. Carefully read the following groups of words. We're going to work out which ones are sentences and which ones are not sentences. So remember, sentences express a complete thought. They have both a subject and a verb. So having a look at the first one. My brother argues with me every single day. Is that a complete thought? Does it have a subject? Does it have a verb? The second one, ran through the trees. Is that a complete thought? Does it have a subject? Does it have a verb? The next word is carefully. Does that express a complete thought? Does it have a subject? Does it have a verb? And finally, we've got Ben rode his bike to the park. Is that a complete thought? Does it have a subject? Does it have a verb? Okay. Pause the video, have a look at those, work out which ones you think are sentences and which ones you think are not sentences. Once you've worked that out, continue on with the video. Okay, so let's have a look at it. The first one, my brother argues with me every single day. This is a sentence. It has a subject and a verb. Second one, ran through the trees. This is not a sentence. It has no subject. Third one is carefully. This is not a sentence. It has no subject and no verb. And finally, Ben rode his bike to the park. We know that this one is a sentence because it has a subject and a verb. Okay, so let's have a look at the types of sentences that we have. There are three types of sentences. We have simple sentences, we have compound sentences, and we have complex sentences. And each sentence type has a unique structure. Now, it's really important that you use all three sentence types in your writing. Okay, so if the reason for this, it makes your writing more enjoyable and it's also interesting for the reader. So when you've got different types of sentences in there, it's beneficial for your reader and their engagement with what you're trying to tell them. So what we're going to do now is have a look at each sentence type more closely. First one we're going to have a look at is simple sentences. Okay, so a simple sentence contains one main clause. It expresses a complete thought. It contains a subject and a verb, and it makes sense by itself. So, an example of this, the cane toad now survives in harsh climates. We can see it has one main clause, it expresses a complete thought, it contains a subject and a verb, and it makes sense. Next one is compound sentences. So a compound sentence contains at least two main clauses joined by a coordinating conjunction. So let's have a look at this. Our example. The cane toad is poisonous and they are found all over Australia. We can tell this is a compound sentence because it has a main clause, then it's joined by a coordinating conjunction, and then it's ended off with another main clause. And both of those main clauses make sense by themselves. So I could say to you, the cane toad is poisonous. That makes sense. I could say to you, they are found all over Australia. That also makes sense. Let's have a quick look at coordinating conjunctions. Okay, so the coordinating conjunctions are used to connect the main clauses. The 7 coordinating conjunctions are for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Okay, and we can remember these by using the acronym FANBOY. So you see over the side here, for, and, nor, but, or, yet, so. Okay, finally we're going to have a look at complex sentences. Now, a complex sentence combines a main clause and one or more subordinate clauses. A subordinate clause contains a subject and a verb, but it doesn't make sense by itself. So, having a look at our example here, the cane toad now survives in harsh climates because it has evolved. We know it's a complex sentence because it has a main clause and a subordinate clause. Okay, and the reason that we use complex sentences in our writing is because it helps the writer to expand and develop the ideas. Okay, and the writer is able to provide additional information through the subordinate clause. So even on its own, it doesn't make sense. The subordinate clause doesn't make sense, but when you add it to a main clause, it gives more meaning and more information to that main clause, and this is what builds that complex sentence. Okay, so that's today's learning lesson. What I would like you to do now is go to your worksheet, complete your worksheet, check your answers, check your spelling, check your punctuation. If you're not sure about some of your answers, go back through the PowerPoint, have a listen of it again, pause on screens that you may need to, so that you can complete your worksheet activity. Okay, that's it for today, so have a great day, and tune in again tomorrow.